So, Steven, I think they finished. You ready?
Let's go.
All right, let's get it. So we got next. So welcome, everyone. We appreciate you all joining us. Today, we will have a very special guest coming on. But before we get into that, we want to just let everyone know that today is going to be the start of us getting into our fantasy selections and just letting you know our fantasy rankings. And don't expect Steven and I to have the same thing. That'll also make this conversation very good. So, Steven, with that being said, we can get into the tight ends. So who you got will go 10-1.
All right.
But I forgot to do it. So we had a very special visitor.
Jeez, this better be good.
A very special visitor. She's a little agitated, so it's not fully here and alive yet. But we're gonna be trapping now.
Is that a Venus flytrap?
It's a Venus flytrap.
Bro, I thought you were about to whip out like an anaconda or something, or like some sort of like reptile. I was not.
Well, it is a reptile. It's going. We're
gonna have to talk about your idea of a pet once we're done with this, because I'm very upset right now that you showed me that, and like
what? Everyone doesn't have that.
You're right, they don't for obvious reasons, I guess. But we'll have to talk about your idea of a pet afterwards. I'm not claiming that thing as our show pet. No chance, dude. No way. I'm very upset right now. I kind of just wanted to stop doing this episode and just leave.
So the cool part about this is once she ends up,
please tell me the cool part about this. Please tell me the cool part about this thing.
You can feed it. You can feed it any type of small insects like mealworms and stuff like that. It'll also grow. And each time we'll end up showing it. Then we can bring on other pets and stuff of that nature. But I distracted you, so you can go into yours.
What do you? Okay, we'll talk about this later. So anyway, tight ends today, 10-1. I'll give you my top 10, and then you can do yours, and then we can kind of break down maybe some of the picks. Mm-hmm. I'm doing this based on when I go through all these fantasy things, and I go through fantasy before I do drafts. A lot of it obviously is based on like just hypotheticals and like how well you think the players are going to do. It's more so I do it on a trust factor of whoever their quarterback is. If you're playing with Jimmy Lipper as your quarterback and you're like one of the top tier tight ends, like sure, like you're going to get your catches and yards and touchdowns, but like not consistently. So a lot of that plays into this. Number 10, I got Zach Ertz. Number 9, I got Austin Hooper. Number 8, I got Evan Ingram. Number 7, I got Gronk. 6, I got Mark Andrews. 5, I got Kyle Pitts. 4, I got Dallas Goedert. 3, Darren Waller. 2, George Kittle. Is it George Kittle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And number 1, I don't know why I blanked on his name for a second. And number 1, I think obviously Travis Kelce. Or Kels, I guess.
Okay.
Travis Kels.
Jason Kels.
Yeah, so there is my top 10.
So after we're done with this, I'll end up like writing it down so we have it on the same one. But I'm actually mad because for someone being an Eagles fan, I didn't put either of them down.
Really?
Yeah. So I didn't have Zach Ertz in mind, believe it or not. But I did consider Dallas Goedert. I guess as we go along, maybe I'll adjust it before the season starts or anything like that. We'll give each other a little bit of a revision time. But so at number 10, I did a combo one because they both went to the same place in the Patriots. You know how Bill Belichick likes to use his tight ends. So I have Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry at number 10. And at number 9, I put this person because he held me out so much last year to win, Logan Thomas. I don't know how he's going to do. He had 110 targets. That's the big thing I put down for him. Number 8, depending on how Tua does down there and what the Dolphins offense does, I have Mike Gesicki.
Shout out Penn State.
Yeah, shout out. And then number 7, depending on how Jared Goff and all of them do in Detroit, I have TJ Hawkinson. And then number 6, this is super luck how he got these touchdowns and everything like that. I don't know if it will continue this year, but I have Robert Tonyan at number 6 with the Packers. Okay. Only reason, because he was another one that if he has those multiple touchdown games again, that's how he got his fantasy points. If you look at his stats throughout the whole year, they weren't that good. When I broke it down, he only had 586 receiving yards. but the way he had it, you had a bajillion points in certain games. So
Yeah.
if Aaron Rodgers is feeling like he wants to play for the Packers for a little bit, then the points will be there for him. Number 5, we had it the exact same, Kyle Pitts. So I put him in the middle, and I looked at that. Well, we'll break it down later how we had that. Number 4, I had Mark Andrews. Number 3, I had George Kittle. Number 2, I had Darren Waller. And then number 1, we both had Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
So
I think it's like I don't know if you went the same thing as I was going through mine, but a lot of the people you mentioned, I was kind of flipping a coin on some of them. Reason why I had Zach Ertz at 10, he's still like, if he's productive like he can be, he's definitely a top 5 tight end. But like I said before, how much do I really trust Jalen Hurts? Like, how much do I trust? I mean, then you think got Dallas Goedert, so there's a lot of factors there with that one. But I think Kyle Pitts, I don't think he's gonna. He's definitely more of a receiver, and I think they're gonna use him like that, especially without Julio now.
That's what I was gonna say. It helps with having Julio.
He should get a lot of touches, especially if he's lined up off the line and lined up in the slot, or if they line him out wide. Especially in the red zone, he should get a lot of looks. And Evan Ingram is another one who I think could his season can go either way, because obviously you have Saquon coming back, and it's going to go either way, because if Saquon starts off slow, they try and get him, a couple touches here and there, just to get Saquon acclimated and everything, and try and limit his carries initially. That'll probably open up for Evan Ingram.
That's what I was going to say, yeah.
If they just say, hey, Saquon, you're good, like, just here's 25 carries right off the bat, could be a slow season for Ingram.
Yes.
But they're going to need him, because obviously teams, if Saquon starts off hot and continues that, teams are obviously going to load the box, which is going to either A, slow Ingram down even more because they're making block, or B, they will put him out wide because he's a matchup guy. He's not your average tight end, so he could also have a big season. But his is a flip of the coin too. That's why I had him at 8 and not higher, because I think he could be a really good tight end. Daniel Jones is obviously a big part of that. And how much do I trust Daniel Jones? Like, not that much, but that's why I had him a little lower than I could. Darren Waller, I think, is gonna. Yeah, I mean,
he's been balling.
Yeah, and Derek Carr is, I trust him enough to not screw up. So
yes,
we'll see how that goes. But I think overall, like, the tight end pool is getting deeper and deeper. So
it's better than years before. I think last year allowed people to wake up and realize they needed a tight end. Because I know with the Raiders, to be honest, going into the season, Waller was good 2 years ago. Last year, you never like to knock injuries, but with Williams getting injured and not playing, huge hole. And then I think Aguilar on the end did help. I was surprised, as someone that had Aguilar on his team. This man over here want to go put up numbers, and it opened it up for Waller. So they never really had a go-to wide receiver out there. It was kind of Aguilar or whoever else would catch the ball, but it allowed Waller to do well. But I think as though your top 3 are kind of solidified. Zach Ertz used to be in that top 3, but injuries, Carson Wentz, everything going on, kind of had him fall out. The other thing with that is, I've been hearing the rumors, like everyone else has, with Watson potentially going to like Philly.
Yeah.
Do I think it'll happen? I don't know. We don't even know what's going to happen if he's going to get suspended.
Yeah. That's true too.
I do think that's a big thing, because I think as though Hurts and Smith are going to have an instant connection with them two in some ways, since they're both on the younger side, both went to Bama and stuff. They might be able to work together. So Hurts will have to create that again with Goddard or Ertz or however it's going to be. But the big thing is, and I tell everybody, I don't know what's going to happen with anything in Philly. So you have new everything. So you'll have to figure out how that's going to go. But they always did rely on the tight ends. And I think it's Goddard's position to lose going forward, because Ertz has been injured. But you also see Goddard playing in the Dakotas definitely strengthens him to be ready for like the Philly atmosphere. Whereas Zach Ertz want to go chill out in the hot states. And he's more so, he's not as big as Goddard is.
Yeah, so. A lot of these, like Travis Kelce, Kittle, Waller, Goddard, I guess, to some degree. A lot of these guys are inline tight ends, so they're going to be lining up on the line. But I mean, they even stretch out Kelsey sometimes and Kittle,
Yeah.
so they're it goes either way. But then you got some of these guys who obviously they put their hand in the dirt because they are tight ends and that's what they do. But I don't expect Kyle Pitts to put his hand in the dirt all the time, or
No.
probably I expect him to line up, in the slot, or a little bit off the line more so than he's going to put his hand in the dirt and block. So I think that's why I have him at 5, because if he does what he did in college or anything close to that in the league, yeah, he's gonna put up big numbers, especially since they don't have Julio, and Matt Ryan loves to chuck the ball all over the place, especially in that dome. You don't have to worry about anything. You get all those home games in there. So, especially after I was looking at some the top 50 lists for tight ends this year for fantasy, and even if you get to 15 to 20, you got guys like Eric Ebron, who, they're not going to probably be in your top 10 anywhere, but he still produces at times. Being a Steelers fan, obviously I watched him a bunch. So, but you get top 15, top 20, there's still some good names out there. Yeah. There's still some good tight ends that can, you can plug in there. And a lot of teams are going with the 2 tight end sets, obviously. So there's room for multiple tight ends on every team. So it's definitely a deeper pool than we've had in the past.
Gronk is another one. We'll end it with this, but Gronk is one that I went back and forth on because I looked at his numbers, just seeing how he's always been. Man, Gronk is just chilling out there in life now. So I really never know what type of numbers he wants to put up when. I last year picked up OJ Howard thinking he was going to be good. Then you thought Cameron Brate was going to do something. Then Gronk want to randomly take over. So you never really know who's going to end up doing what.
Well, and also he's Tom Brady's favorite human. So when they get when they get inside the 20, when they get inside the 10,
Gronk.
I know he has Mike Evans, I know he has Chris Godwin, but Tom Brady trusts Gronk more than he trusts the other two. So you saw the Super Bowl, when they were in the red zone, just give him the ball and he's gonna find a way to score. he's a fucking massive dude, so he's gonna find a way to score. So that's why Gronk's always gonna be in the top 10 no matter what, because he's gonna get. He's not gonna get as many yards as he used to, not as many touches as he used to, but he's gonna get those tight ends. Those touchdowns in the red zone. So that's always big. But
yeah. So we finished this up with the tight ends. Next time, what do you want to do? Quarterback, wide receiver, running back?
Let's go receivers.
Okay. So this one, I'm thinking we should do 15 because I don't know if 10 is probably the best. So we'll do 1 and 15. But what I want to do is I promised everyone a special guest, and I want to bring the special guest on for us. So I promised everyone a special guest, and this is someone that I was really excited to bring on. One from a cryptocurrency. I appreciate cryptocurrency in itself, but I also do appreciate paranormal activity and then unknown things. Steven and I can talk all day about our happenings that we did have, but a team member from Great Token and someone that you all will know goes by Marty Talks on Twitter, but we have Marty with us today.
Hey, nice to be here with you guys. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Marty. So we appreciate it. How's everything been?
Busy. I think I grew a few gray hairs. Gray hairs. Dun-dun-dun.
I know, right? Yep. See, that's what I was saying.
I see
everyone out there, Great Token. So what we want to talk about really quickly with everyone is just the NBA Finals. We would be remiss if we didn't even bring it up. It was Bucks and 6. So if you've been watching it all, Steven has been calling Bucks and 6. He wavered for a second in Bucks and 7, but he did say Bucks and 6 most of the time. And there's a lot of big things with that. So before we talk about the score and everything, I just want to bring up some stats with it. And there's only been 3 people in history that have won the MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and the Finals MVP. And that is Giannis this year. Then you had MJ. And can you guess the last one, Steven?
Hakeem Olajuwon.
Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon. Yep. Yes, sir.
It's funny. We went from simple Michael Jordan to a little more complicated with Hakeem Olajuwon. Mm-hmm. Now it's Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know the next person that's gonna have a long name like that we're gonna have to try and pronounce. But
yeah, that's crazy. And the big, I think it was, so it's been those 3. The other one,
To be
that
like
I wanted
Chris
to.
Paul.
Hmm?
Want to be like Chris Paul.
Yeah, I know, and I hope
Totally
he can
reversing
win
the
it.
trend.
Yeah, I know. So I hope he can win it. But the other one I wanted to bring up, because Marty just brought up Chris Paul, is PJ Tucker. So the underrated individual that beat all four of his teammates from the 2019 team.
Yep.
He beat Trevor Ariza in the first round. He beat James Harden in the second round. He beat Clint Capella, surprising, an Atlanta Hawks making it to the Eastern Conference Finals. And then CP3. And if you saw him on the boat, that man looked like he just won the greatest thing of his life.
Yeah, he's
Like,
cool. Like
Just
it was like when
said,
it was like when J.R. Smith won with Cleveland.
yes,
and
same exact thing.
yeah.
And the way PJ Tucker did it, for everyone that paid attention, PJ Tucker hardly shot the ball. This man just gave it dog minutes out there every single night, maybe shot 1 or 2 field goals most of the time, and just gave it the heart and soul that he could. So that's something I did appreciate about him. Last thing before we talk about your thoughts on the game and Marty's thoughts on the series, I sent this to Steven. Shout out to Crowbar and Grill for saying that it was a free shot for every time Giannis made a free throw, thinking that Giannis was about to only make 2 or 3 free throws. Meanwhile, this man went 17 and 19 from the free throw line. So if you go on Twitter, it'll take you a tough time now figuring out where Crowbar and Grill is, because when I first did it the night it happened, you could find it. I don't know if they went into hiding or what. They might have gone bankrupt, because if you're giving out free shots, 17, half the people there probably are dead or drunk or doing whatever, still drunk to this day. I don't know. But that was the funny thing. Now I want to get into the game itself in the series. So what are your thoughts, Steven, to start on Mr. 50-point man, but also all that he did to get to this point?
You know how I love to be prisoner of the moment, right?
Yeah.
Love to be that. But and I don't like, it's not, this isn't one of this doesn't apply to that, because what he did in the finals was incredible. He had two 40-point games, he had a 50 spot. It was like, and we can get into the whole super team thing later about his comments with that. But it was, I'm so happy that they won. Like, yeah. I know I picked them, and I went against you, and I went against the Suns and everything. And I didn't really want the Suns to win. I think everyone kind of knew that, but I'm just so happy that they won. I'm so happy that they won at home.
Yeah.
Because recently it seems like everyone's been winning on the road, which whatever, but they're winning is winning, but winning at home after last season, and like going through this season still with the pandemic and everything, and the Bucks' first title since, for 50 years. Yeah. So, shout out to them. And I don't know if you watched the end of the game, but
I saw the clown and Brooke Lopez.
You what?
I saw the clown and Brooke Lopez chilling with a little dinosaur and everything.
Yeah, dude. No, I'll have no slander. There was a moment. It was kind of like the moment that I realized how happy I was that the Bucks won, that Giannis got his, because we can also talk about the path for everyone to the finals, how it was one of the easier ones this year for both teams, actually.
Yeah.
But there was a moment with about like 20 seconds left where him and PJ Tucker, when everyone kind of knew it was over with. It wasn't like the Suns were still down like 6 or so there's a chance, but I think it was like maybe a 7 or 8 point lead, and they kind of realized this one was over. There was a moment that him and PJ Tucker did a little chest bump, and like the crowd just, like, as soon as they did it, and like, everyone just went nuts, and like that's kind of when the celebration started. So that was the moment where I was like, all right, I'm very happy that the Bucks won. Giannis got his resume as of 26 years old is absolutely stacked. He's got the finals. He got the finals MVP, 2-time MVP, defensive player of the year. He's got, I think, four. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. I don't care. Like, Kawhi's the same way. Kawhi's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, they don't have to do anything.
The only thing missing for Kawhi is a regular season MVP, but Giannis has everything. Like, he's got the MVP, 2 of them. He's got defensive player of the year. He's got all NBA defense. He's got a championship. He's got a finals MVP. Like, he doesn't, like, in terms of accolades, he doesn't really need much more. And he has more than LeBron and MJ had both at 26 years old. So I think all in all, it was like good for him. Shout out to the Bucks. Shout out to, PJ Tucker, all those guys on the team.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Pat Connaughton
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, shout out to Pat Connaughton. Shout out to Dante DiVincenzo for getting a ring. You know, he didn't play, he was injured, but he still got a ring.
He got one in college and in the pros now.
Yeah, so did Justin Jackson from Carolina. So good for those guys, good for the Bucks. Enjoy it because the Lakers are coming forward next year. So there we go. Lakers in 7 next year.
So we had someone.
I'm already on it.
We had someone before we started that was mentioning Middleton, and I want to get him in the conversation. So Marty, what are your thoughts on just the Bucks, Chris Middleton, and them all winning?
Well, Chris Middleton's a beast. He's one of my, favorite players in the NBA. Beyond all the, ex-Zags that are in the NBA now. But I think that you're going to start seeing a lot of Milwaukee Bucks jerseys out there after today. But I mean, it's pretty cool. I love it when any, it's team that's not, generally a winning team goes and does and wins it all. Happy for their fans. Good time to be a Milwaukee Buck fan. So, I mean, it's pretty awesome. You had one hell of a series, and it's just really, really cool. I think all those Milwaukee Bucks NFTs that I got from NBA Top Shots are gonna go up in value a little bit. So I might take advantage of that.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's gonna be worth it.
Also, shout out to Chick-fil-A. That video that Giannis put out about him getting a 50-piece. I think I don't know how they got this number or how they calculated or whatever, but it got them 250 something grand in sales that day.
Wow.
Like it increased everything. So, Giannis, I think, wants free Chick-fil-A for life. So
they probably
I got to try the Sprite and lemonade combo that he asked for with his 50-piece nugget. He said half Sprite, half lemonade, no ice. So next time I'm at Chick-fil-A, I'm going to try that out. And I'll bring it on the show, and I'll give a nice little review on the show. Yep.
It reminds me of the whole Marshawn Lynch with Skittles incident.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
Gotta love those free endorsements.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I just want one. I don't even care what it is. I don't care if it's like Dole bananas or something. Just give me something, man.
Yeah. So I was texting my dad the night of the finals and the night before. And usually my dad and I can be very opinionated when it comes to certain sports teams or like athletes that are winning. And I think this is the first year we both could just come to an agreement of, because we both had the Suns. I'm not mad at all that the Bucks won. I'm happy. I genuinely would have been happy for either team that would have won. It just would have.
No, absolutely not. The Bucks had to win. I wasn't gonna be very miserable if the Suns won.
So with the Bucks winning, because Giannis did it the way that a lot of teams, old school teams, knew how to do it, that's what made it feel that much better. And if you look back at tweets and stuff, Giannis said he wasn't going to leave until he brought a championship home, which it was a little bit different. No slander towards LeBron. I'm about to talk about him in a second, but LeBron went to Miami, won there, then came back and won in Cleveland. Giannis and Middleton, if you see the glow up they had together too, they have come so far. And I also have to give a shout out to Drew Holiday. That's another person out there, because Drew has given his all every single time. He took time away for his wife too when she was battling with things. And that was just a team that they put together. I remember when it was, I'm pretty sure Bogdanovich, they were trying to get him, just wouldn't work out. And they were worried that that was the piece they needed. And for them to still win, I was happy about that. But I mentioned LeBron, and I wanted to bring up LeBron because I have to congratulate him, because he's the first NBA player to be a billionaire while active. I didn't say a millionaire. I didn't say a thousandaire. He's a billionaire while active. 1 billion with his salaries and endorsements since he's been playing. The next closest person to that is Kevin Durant, who has $580 million in total. And then after that, it's Steph Curry with $430 million. So you just have to commend LeBron, lifetime deals he has, everything. And it's just something that a lot of people try to aspire to. It might be a little bit different in soccer, football, for everyone out there, because you have those dumb contracts that you'll get. Like, they will buy souls to make sure you get out there. So congratulations to LeBron and everything like that. The other thing I want to talk about just super quickly, and then we'll move over into
to his agent.
That agent
Talk
too.
to his agent. Is he dating someone? Isn't his agent like dating someone famous?
Yeah, I think his Rich Paul, right, is dating Adele.
Dang.
Is that right?
We
Yeah,
got
Is that-
TMZ out here.
Because I think they were sitting they were sitting courtside at the Phoenix game.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was it was someone. It might have been that might be totally wrong, but
maybe a Kardashian. I don't know.
Yeah, it might be.
Please. Oh God, I hope not. I hope not.
So, other thing I wanted to bring up super fast was congratulations to Ftx Exchange. They've been raising crazy amounts of money. We were just talking about LeBron being a billionaire, but FTX just closed their Series B funding with $900 million they just raised, which brings their valuation total to $18 billion that their company is worth. And the big thing about that is they're working with the MLB. They'll have patches on the umpires' jerseys. And then also it is now FTX Arena where the Miami Heat play. So congratulations to them. What they're doing, also MasterCard is working to enhance their programs to allow partners to make more easily transfer cryptocurrency into fiat currency. For everyone that doesn't know, basically the dollar or the yen or the pound. That's what they're going to try and do. But the news I want to bring up, because I was texting my friends and I said, you know how boring life has to be for somebody to say, I'm just going to go to space? Mr. Jeff Bezos went to space. And that's something a lot of people here can't even fathom, ever think about doing. But you have Elon Musk and you have Jeff Bezos that are over here saying, let's just make it a race to space. So congratulations to Bezos. You get to retire, chill out with Amazon, and then you get to just get in your rocket ship and go to space. The other thing I want to bring up is the B conference super quickly. Speaking of the other person that's talking about space, you had Kathy Wood, Jack Dorsey, who is somebody that I have high regards for, both of them. And then you had Elon Musk that were on just talking about Bitcoin and how Elon Musk does own Bitcoin with Tesla himself and then SpaceX. So Marty, what are your thoughts on these high influencers or big time people in the world that are working to own Bitcoin, but also talking about it more openly?
I feel like, it's like their time to come out of the closet. They've been doing it for a while, but
Yeah.
I mean, now it's starting to become more publicly acceptable. I mean, if they would have came out and said it in 2015, can you imagine that? Or
I know.
2017 when everyone's like bearish on it. Now they're they're accumulating during those times. That's what they were doing. So it's kind of like them pumping their own bags, and giving them they have the floor to do it. So why not?
Yeah. So I want to bring that up, and I know Stephen will ask his questions a little later, but what are your thoughts on when Elon can manipulate and control the market so easily? We've seen it more recently than before, but what are your thoughts on how he can talk about Doge, Shiba Inu, or he can talk about Bitcoin and then it'll just go up?
I mean, I think that it doesn't really say more about Elon, but the people's mindset these days, and how they think and how they invest. It's kind of this hive mentality of, someone famous just, said something about Doge, not just someone famous, but fucking Elon Musk, right? One of the most successful entrepreneurs in the world. Yeah. So when he goes on and says, I own this, then everyone just has a hive mentality and wants to buy it, even though, there really is no use case or fundamentally sound, there's no fundamentals about it besides the fact that Elon owns it and he said something about it. So I think it's something that I think that the SEC was kind of concerned about or kind of upset about. But then again, it's like, what are they going to do? And I think Elon knows that and he's taking advantage of it. So. Yeah.
So Steven, you got thoughts?
So I asked this question to everybody, and just a side note, like I'm getting into the crypto space thanks to Christian. So every time we have someone on, every time we talk, there's always something that I learn. So I'm getting there, but slowly but surely. Marty, why do you think, and you kind of mentioned it, like now it's more acceptable to talk about it. Like people know the word Bitcoin, but I feel like they don't know what it means. They hear about cryptocurrency, but they don't really know what it means for whatever reason. It's been around for a while, 2009. Like, why do you think now or over the last 3-4 years, it's become more acceptable to talk about? Is it because of all the social media it's getting? Is it because regular media platforms are talking about it? It's because Elon Musk, or what do you think the reason is, or a couple of reasons are that it's becoming more of a talking point in conversations?
That's a good question. I think there's a lot of variables. There's a lot of factors that come into play here, and it really depends on the audience too that you talk to, because there's still a lot of like boomers out there, for instance, older generations, that when you talk about crypto, they kind of think of like, illegal enterprise, laundering money, that type of thing, in crypto in general. But then you have celebrities and people that are making it more valid, saying there's a lot of use cases coming out. You have big companies like MasterCard that are coming out there and doing making the onboarding a lot easier for people. So it brings a lot more legitimacy to the scene when big companies and institutional investors like BlackRock are coming in there and buying it up, and Tesla and Elon Musk are saying, we're buying Bitcoin, we're buying Ethereum. That brings a lot more legitimacy to the scene. So those kind of old stereotypes of, Silk Road with Bitcoin and whatnot, what it used to be associated with. And I have a security background, so I was a security engineer. So a lot of times, I dealt with ransomware, and with ransomware, a lot of hackers want to be paid in Bitcoin. So there's like a lot of people's mindsets and stereotypes of cryptocurrencies. A lot of times they go straight to the whole legal part of it, but then you have these institutions that are coming in here and saying, hey, we're partnering, we're with these crypto companies, we're onboarding people to get crypto a lot safer. So I think that's just kind of showing people, like, just because hackers use Bitcoin does not mean that it's illegitimate. I mean, they can ask for anything. They can ask for gift cards. So are gift cards going to be associated with criminal activity? And it could be anything. So I think it's just like erasing the stereotypes of what cryptocurrency is and what it isn't.
Do you think also that it might be just as simple as like people never cared about it, and like because they didn't have to? And it's not like people have to care about cryptocurrency or Bitcoin or anything, but do you think now that everybody seems to be talking about it, and there's a lot of athletes, I went to Penn State, so Saquon Barkley is gonna be taking all of his endorsements in cryptocurrency.
Yeah, about that, yeah.
So like, do you think now, because it's becoming more, I guess, quote unquote, mainstream, and more celebrities are talking about it, people are like, oh, well, so-and-so was talking about it, or so-and-so was taking their endorsements in Bitcoin, I should care about it now because it seems to be a big deal. Do you think it's as simple as that maybe too?
Yeah, I mean, actually in 2017, there was a Seahawks player. It was an offensive lineman. I think not
Russell Okung.
Okay, yeah, yes. He actually was doing that, taking salaries in Bitcoin long before anyone else. I'm pretty sure he was one of the first. That was
I didn't know that until like a handful of months ago, until Christian brought it up to me. Like, I didn't know that because like I didn't, so like I just didn't care enough to like really look into that. Like I might have saw it like on like ESPN.com or whatever,
right?
But it's not like I did any research on it or like why he was doing it. But now, like I said, more and more celebrities and athletes are talking about it and accepting it. Like it's just becoming more of a talking point.
I think it's also like, if you think about it too, I mean, look at the whole like nerd scene, for instance. I mean, like video games, right? For the longest time, video games and Dungeons and Dragons and Magic and Pokemon and all these kind of like things that were associated with like nerds, and it was really cool. And now it's like mainstream. So like every, porn star is also like a huge, Pokemon video game player. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
and, like everyone's like doing competitive esports now, and like that's so cool. And there's don't stereotype it to just a guy's thing anymore, because girls are just as good as gamers, and it's not nerdy anymore. It's super cool. So I think it's like that's kind of the phase that crypto is entering. Where it was before, it was all these just like weebs and like basement dwellers, living in mom's basement, like watching porn and buying it with Bitcoin, like
I know, yeah,
shit like that.
Doing that too.
And, yeah, you could, and like, hey, you don't have to get your doxed or anything doing it, so your wife won't find out. And I'm just kidding. Anyways, but seriously though, but like that's kind of the stage we're entering in, whereas like I think that mixed with like you have all these people that don't know shit about finance and investing, and they're becoming millionaires overnight just by buying Cumcoin and like Dogecoin. So I mean, that's kind of the bad. I feel like that's kind of a bad example though, because there's a difference between like solid investing and just getting lucky. And a lot of those
Yep.
guys, they're just degens getting lucky. But people do see that and they're saying, holy shit, I need to start taking this seriously. I need to make that money. But then again, a lot of people get the wrong idea and they think that crypto is just this fast, easy way to make money and make it overnight. And that's just not what it is, So you gotta take
and I haven't really dove into like investments in it or just like investments in general. But like, I mean, even I know that. And like, you see like your buddy, Jimmy Lipper, gets rich quick off of that, overnight seemingly. And then most of his friends are like, oh, I need to do that. I need to go drain my bank account, put into cryptocurrency, and I'm gonna get rich, on Saturday, and we'll be good.
And that's why meme coins are huge right now.
Exactly.
So Marty was just touching on this, and I'll clarify it for everybody. So when he was talking about the porn industry, we were genuinely being serious because Verge, it was a huge thing. I'll never forget, and Marty, you probably remember this too, when Verge was saying we have this big announcement to make, and everyone was like, all right, like, what is your announcement going to be? They partnered with a porn company so that you can make payments to these cam girls with Verge. And I was like, all right, like, that was the start of it. Then there is a cryptocurrency called Cum Rocket. There is a cryptocurrency called Ass, but it's not Ass that you guys are thinking of. It stands for like Australian Shepherd Coin, something like that.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's just crazy the names that they'll make up, and you just get a community just to pump it. There is no use behind it. It's just, can you get enough people to pump it? There's another one that just came out called Baby Cuban, and it's just random different ones you'll just throw out. Mark Cuban half the time probably doesn't know about this stuff, but you'll just have random different things. But the big reason we brought that up, but the big topic I do want to talk on, because I don't always like to talk about the supposed meme coins, I want to talk about ones that have real use cases. And when we started mentioning that we were going to have Gray Token and Marty on, we put it on different platforms like Facebook and then Instagram, and people were genuinely interested in trying to figure out about this. I know I talked to my friends, some of them were like, nah, we're not even going to read the rest of your Medium article you put out because we're already scared about what's to come. But when I first heard about Gray Token, I texted Steven and was like, you know what? We can be open about things that we've seen. Because for years, Steven and I never told people about what we saw on our drive. And I was able to just tell Marty about what we saw. So before we get into that, Marty, the big question, how everyone in cryptocurrency wants to know is how you earn your stripes. When did you first get involved in cryptocurrency? And what was your first cryptocurrency?
I think it was around 2013 off and on to 2015. And my very first cryptocurrency was Bitcoin. I was mining it with ASIC miners. And for people who don't know what that is, it's just like a little USB. It was a little USB plugin, with a simple CPU in there. And it wasn't GPU mining at the time. You plugged it into like a little USB strip, and you had a fan that was also on the USB strip, and it would cool down your ASIC miners. And I wish I still had these, because I think they're actually like worth something now just by themselves. I don't know, I haven't heard in years, but it had like a little BTC signal logo on the front of it, and I just loved it. It was just so amazing. I had like blue ones and neon pink ones and whatever, and I'm just like, I'm making money now, just like that.
You can make real money.
Yeah, and I was making a lot of money, and I was like, I tried to get my friends into it, my roommate into it at the time, and he just like was not interested.
I know.
I don't know. Just so weird. I'm like, why wouldn't you be? This is the future, and no one believed me. Everyone thought I was like, there's like fucking nerd,
Yeah, I know.
That's why I said the Christian too. That's why I said the Christian. I was like, Christian, are you a nerd now?
Yeah.
So then I just got hooked right then. That was my gotcha moment. And then I upgraded, to ant miners. These things were loud, like they're huge too. And I remember like my apartments, I was in college at the time, so I was modding Xboxes with all like the retro games and shit, just to like buy more equipment to mine. So it was like funding my operation, I guess you could say. And kind of like Steve Jobs and the whole black box thing. It's kind of like that, but I was like modding Xboxes. But anyways, I upgraded to ant miners and put them in my dad's garage, my mom and dad's garage, and they're just like, oh, it's too loud or whatever. So I eventually just started trading Ethereum. And I think that Ethereum was only like a few dollars at the time. It's just insane how
that's wild. That's crazy.
Yeah. So that's kind of my history. I've been in the space a long time. I've kind of seen everything
So
grow.
two things that I'll bring up just for everybody out there. One, if you all don't know what Marty's talking about with ASIC mining, there's a show called Startup, and there's a girl on the show. Her name is Izzy. She does something very similar. So it gives you more so a real world example so you all can understand. Izzy's working to create her own cryptocurrency called GenCoin. I'm not going to ruin the whole show for everyone, but then she has friends and she starts off in the garage, just like Marty was mentioning with him. So it can give you a real life example, because a lot of times people now, most of the Bitcoin has been mined. There is a good amount still to be mined, but Marty, for everyone out there, is a part of the OG people that were doing mining. This is when like Bitcoin, Ethereum, you can make crazy amounts of money off of it. But also that is during the times where a lot of people look at you strange and oddly. I know even when I talk to my friends about cryptocurrency and cryptography and blockchain, I didn't even get a degree in engineering, and they think I'm smarter than my friends that are engineers just because of the word terminology that you end up using and things of that nature. So it's just really crazy how you can have full-on conversations with people now, just going back to what Steven said, in cryptocurrency by just bringing up either mining. They will, I promise you, if you brought up mining to somebody that did it back in the day, or even if you are curious about it, you can have good conversation. They can teach you a lot about cryptocurrency. The next thing I want to bring up is Gray Token. So I want to talk a little bit about Gray Token. What is it for everyone out there, and just break it down?
Great. Thank you. I appreciate that. Gray Token is a platform that we have been working on for a while to bring kind of gather the paranormal communities and UFO and extraterrestrials. We want to put I'll take all the evidence and we want to put it on the blockchain. So people can submit their own evidence or videos or even art. You know, we have monetary rewards for first place, second place, and third place that the community votes on, the Gray Token holders vote on. And the winners, you know, receive a monetary reward. Sometimes I think our first competition is gonna be 5,000 in F. Second, third place also get a prize. So kind of incentivizes people to submit really good content. And we take the community votes on it, and the winner we mint into NFTs, non-fungible tokens. And then we disperse those NFTs to 51 of the Gray Token holders. And the second and third place ones can be purchased on the platform for a limited amount of time. And every time it gets purchased, it goes up in price. So the NFTs go up in value. Then those NFTs we place on the platform. People can put them up for sale on the platform, so people can buy them that missed out on the opportunity, or they want a first place one, they didn't get it through the random drop. And people can purchase those NFTs using Graycoin. The cool part is that when people do purchase it using Graycoin, or they can purchase it using Ethereum or a stablecoin, and it'll be transferred, it'll be exchanged for Gray, and then the Gray will be burned. So it creates a deflationary supply for Gray Token.
Okay, good. So a big thing, I know there are probably a lot of people out there that are asking about the different paranormal activity experiences that people have, and then video footage. How will you validate if it's real or not?
That's a good question. I mean, we're going to have our engineers and our developers are working on it. And we have a lot of good solutions. And pretty much what we've kind of finalized on are a few things. Community moderation, for one, and two, filtration systems. So a lot of people go through there and will filter out, you know, any kind of illegal or sexual material, anything that doesn't stay true to the platform and what we really want to have on there. And a filtration, automated AI filtration system that will go through there and do that as well as we scale to make it scalable. That means, for people who don't know what that is, as we get bigger, as we grow. And then we're also going to reach out to paranormal community leaders and have them come on and verify some of the videos that are more popular, so we can get their take on it and say, hey, you know, this is endorsed by so and so, and they say this is real or fake. And so, I mean, we have a lot of ways that we're working to do that, but we're going to, you know, choose the best path over time. But we have some really good solutions for that.
Yeah, because a big thing that I know a lot of people end up talking about, or they might be fearful because they'll listen just to what the government says, and they'll kind of shelter you from it. But of course, you have different places, so like the Pentagon, CIA, Area 51, and stuff that probably have seen all of this, or even like the pilots, when they're just flying, they have seen various different things, but they'll never necessarily tell you. But how did you all come up with the concept of Gray Token?
Well, that's a good question. I came up with the concept of it, and I have my own Telegram group. It's a chat room, basically just with a bunch of people and a lot of my friends, and I just came up with this concept, of taking paranormal evidence and putting it on the blockchain. And the reason why is because a lot of people are afraid to come out and say, hey, I had this experience, because people just look at you like you're stupid, or like,
Yep.
or you have this video and you don't really know what to do with it, and you kind of want to tell some people about it, and maybe some people are afraid of, if the video is real, maybe they're afraid of retribution, maybe like the Men in Black, for instance. A lot of people believe in that stuff, and they're afraid of some kind of what's what I'm looking for, kind of government will come after them, retaliation, there you go.
Yeah.
They're afraid of retaliation of some sort, so we give them a platform to put that evidence on, and they can do it anonymously, and or they can come forward. But I mean, blockchain does give you the anonymity that a lot of people like, and decentralization, so it can't be taken down. There's no central server where that evidence can be taken off of, so it just makes sense to have it. But that's kind of how I came up with the concept, and it's cool because I think that we might be able to get some really good evidence on there because of it. Another cool thing is the whole NFT tokenomics part of it. I came up with that too. So but my team members, they're, I'm not going to take anything away from them because they work really hard, and they're killing it right now. They work really hard. They look around the clock developing and updating the communities and communication and reaching out and communicating with each other. Our designers, our Solidity devs, our backend devs, all those guys are great. They're killing it.
So one thing I want to bring up for everybody, and this is something that gave me even more respect towards Marty, is everyone is called team members. And that's what I like, because everyone is treated the same and equally. But one thing I do want to talk about is the NFT tokenomics that you brought up. Can you explain that a little bit for everyone?
Yeah, so we have NFTs, and for people who don't know what that is, non-fungible tokens. It's just videos and pictures that are on the blockchain that certify ownership by the owner, right? You own this, even though I know a lot of people get, make fun of it, but like, oh, well, I own it too because I have the picture. But you're not the official owner of it, and who knows, that may really come into play sometime in the future when everything's digitalized and NFTs become more mainstream, kind of like how we were talking about crypto is now becoming mainstream. And I feel like, we have these early concepts like NFTs, which are just starting to make the rounds of people's ears in the media, in the news. We hear people like celebrities putting things up for ridiculous amounts and selling them for NFTs. And we're starting to get a bit, but a lot of people just still don't know what it is. Like if you say, oh, I'm doing something with NFTs to someone, it's just going to right over their head, kind of like the early days when you're saying, oh, I'm mining Bitcoin. But NFT tokenomics basically is, for people who don't understand what tokenomics are, it's kind of a play on words of economics with tokens. Tokens are coins, cryptocurrency coins, various cryptocurrency coins, mostly on Ethereum, but it could be on other blockchains as well. So it's a mix between tokenomics and NFTs. It's taking tokens and it's building a relationship with the NFTs. And so this relationship is interchangeable. So when the NFTs go up in price, the supply for Gray token goes down and the demand for Gray token goes up. So that relationship will boost the price and the demand for the token as well that's associated with these NFTs in the marketplace that we're building. So it's pretty cool. I mean, I don't think anyone's done this yet, so I'm excited to kind of see when we launch the platform how it's all gonna play out. But yeah.
Thank you for that. A big thing that I really do appreciate about your explanation, you didn't only talk about the NFT tokenomics, but you talked about tokenomics, because a lot of people out there, they kind of just use the word tokenomics, if they know it or not, And for you to break down that part, I do appreciate. Something I want to get into, because we definitely need to talk about this, especially when talking about grade toking, is the paranormal activity and the experiences. So 2 things I'll start off with myself, because I want to hear a lot about Marty has to say. So I had a boxer that we had probably 2 or 3 years ago, and he passed away, and we ended up moving houses. And my brother would sleep in the basement at times before we ended up leaving. And he would say, like, he would tell my mom he thinks he saw the ghost of like our dog, because there was a certain spot in the area that our dog Quincy would always sleep. Like, even though it was supposed to be there, he would always like sleep there. And then my brother would sleep in the basement, lights off. Then he kind of turned it on one day, and he was like, I'm pretty sure I saw Quincy there. And just like what Marty and Steve were talking about, you don't always want to come forward because people aren't going to believe you. But if he saw it, you're basically telling him. So what did he see then? So that's the first thing I wanted to bring up, that some people don't want to come forward, but I thought it was just interesting because spirits and ghosts do exist. The other thing, and Steven and I always joke around about it, and we don't really tell many people, is when we were driving to Penn State. Steven, you want to tell the story?
You can.
And we were just driving up the hill, and I'll never forget, because it was dark outside and we were going through trees, and we just saw like a shooting star like go through the sky, and we're like, hold up, that's not really what it is. And I'll never forget, Steve and I were like, we're just not going to talk about it. And we just kept doing the drive. It
was like an hour and a half later. I was like, bro, I gotta talk to you about something real quick. Like, did you see that? Because like we both kind of like, we were talking, like you said, it was dark out, and we were driving, and I was driving, and we were driving along, and like there it goes, and like we both kind of like, we didn't look at each other, but it was kind of like we both acknowledged it without really acknowledging it.
We just stopped talking.
Yeah, and then like it went silent for about like 30 seconds. It was like a long 30 seconds, and like an hour and a half later, we're just like, let's go back and revisit what we saw, because like that was a shooting star. That was like a meteor falling from the sky. That thing was enormous, and it was just like, again, I couldn't even begin to tell you what it might have been. But
yeah, we're just gonna say it's a shooting star.
Yeah,
but the sky's the limit for what it can be. And I brought that up because I want Marty to go into details. So have you ever had any paranormal or supernatural or unknown experiences?
Yeah, I mean, going back to your story, that's really cool. And a lot of times I think what people don't realize is that as humans, we have this natural fight or flight instinct when something's not right. So if you both felt that, then generally it's not going to be just a shooting star, because your body wouldn't react in that way. Your mind wouldn't react in that way. If it was one of you, then maybe, yeah. But I mean, the fact that both of you kind of reacted that way, then definitely it's probably something, weird. Yeah. And I'm glad you guys didn't like wind up naked in the field, like booting or something weird. Like,
yeah, we were in the middle of Pennsylvania, so it very could have well ended up that way.
And like just erase from your memory.
Yeah,
no, I've had a lot of weird like encounters and experiences and things of that.
Oh, nature. You gotta give us like, I mean, because this is like I don't have these conversations every day with people about aliens or like outer space, but like I love the whole concept of space. Not to cut you off, but like I don't need the government. I don't need the military. I don't need my neighbor Frank telling me like that there's not something out there. I can literally walk outside right now, look up, and just know that you're gonna tell me that, and like just the sight that I have with my 2 eyes of the dark sky out there,
right?
And we're the only things out there. Like we're like out of like the billions and billions and billions of things out there, this planet Earth is the only thing with some sort of life on it. Get out of here with that. Like there's just no way.
Yeah, Marty, you got to give us something good.
Yeah, I mean, I could tell you about the story that I had in the graveyard. That's one of the coolest ones in college. But there's other times where I've actually seen like UFOs.
All right, come on, this is why I'm here. Like I can go all night with this. I might go get a couple beers and like we'll be here for a long time.
I was watching that Hot Wings show like last night, and they're, and they take the celebrities on the show and they just get hotter and hotter wings. I love that shit. Anyways, like I was okay. So my girlfriend and her family have this lake cabin in Washington and Washington State. It's a hotbed over here in the West Coast for UFO activities and especially like obviously Nevada, Roswell and whatnot.
Yep.
So I don't know what it is, but there's like Sasquatches over here and shit like that. Like it's crazy. But yeah, we were on the dock. It was a really clear night, and we, you see the clear night sky really well because it's out away from the city. And there was a little white orb flying around the sky doing like zigzags, and a lot of people brush that off as maybe a shooting star, or a lot of times people say it's a satellite, or sometimes people say they're drones, and that very well could be in a lot of cases. But as we kept looking at it, it kept getting closer and closer. And I took out my phone with the zoom camera, and I can make out a triangular shape that was blinking lights and just kind of hovering and stood still. And then it just zipped and flew away. Just like that.
Damn.
It's a triangle with 3 like lights blinking on the bottom of it. And it blinked for a little bit, and then it stopped, and then it just flew away. Just
like I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that you're full of shit and that didn't happen, because like I 100% believe that happens, and like it happens to everybody probably. Like a lot of people might have that same experience.
Yeah, and totally. And you can look at all the UFO reports, and there's so many. There's hundreds of thousands, and it goes back a long time, ever since we started recording them. And since I think Project Blue Book from the government created that whole part of the government to document and investigate UFO sightings, and they're open about it. And another cool documentary you should check out is Roswell. It's called The Final Verdict on Discovery Plus. Man, I just watched that recently, and that blew my fucking mind. I mean, they take artificial intelligent lie detectors that were developed by MIT, and basically what it does is it scans people's faces when they're telling a story, in their tones and their tone of voice, and the different levels of it, and it can determine whether someone's telling the truth or not in their story. And they went through all the Roswell testimonies, through all the people who said they saw it, the aliens, the crashed ships, the autopsies, like everything, and most of them are telling the truth from the AI lie detectors. That's and crazy. Another thing I learned from that is that J. Edgar Hoover enacted some kind of act so that the CIA could spy on Americans because of the Roswell incident, because they wanted to cover it up. So the CIA never used to spy on Americans. I mean, it was more worried about the Soviets, in the Cold War. But after the extraterrestrial threat, that had to be real, because not only did they cover it up, but they enacted the CIA to spy on its citizens in case people were to talk about it, to spread, so that the people didn't, spread the truth out there for whatever reason. Maybe they don't want people to know about it. They want to, hide the technology. They want to hide the secret, and, for whatever reason. But until they could figure out what it was, maybe they had a good cause at first. But that's just kind of an interesting fact that I didn't know about until recently.
It's also funny that like aliens are automatically assumed a threat.
Yeah, right.
Like, do we like? I don't know if they are or not. Like, I mean, we don't know what, like, I'm sure someone knows what they look like, because people have had pretty close up encounters with them. You've heard all the stories and whatnot, but like,
they don't want to. I mean, they're probably scared to admit it.
Yeah. Again, like that's the other thing. Like if I walked outside right now and an alien just came up behind me and said what's up, and like did something, and like I saw him fly away in his spaceship, dude, I would call everybody I knew.
Yep.
All my friends. I would call every single person I could possibly think of. I'd call Christian. We do an episode right away. Like, okay, here's
this alien pissing in my bushes.
Yeah, like I'd be so cool. Like that'd be so cool to see. Like people are like, no, aliens. Like, no, I don't want to like deal with that. Like, no, sign me up. Like between that, Bigfoot, I'm down to find Bigfoot. Like
Me too, man.
I'm so down for that. But like, I'm like no, I feel like eventually people will find out, like maybe later on in life, like maybe after our lifetime, like about aliens and like where there's other planets, like where there's actual life at. Maybe we'll get there in like a whole other lifetime. Maybe not even my kids' lifetimes, but um, it's just it's a fascinating thing that you can just dive into. And just like when you get lost in YouTube, like you can just go and go and go and go.
Hours
So-
of free entertainment.
Hours.
I actually took a course in college called Ancient Alien Theory, and it was a critical thinking class. And the professor had a PhD in world history, and so I think a lot of the theories came off of Eric von Daniken's writings from the book Chariots of the Gods, where he questions religion, or history, or documented history, and his whole theory is that basically we were. Our DNA was manipulated by extraterrestrials because we jumped from Neanderthals, and then all of a sudden we were these, super intelligent and super evolved beings just overnight, basically. And evolution can't really explain that. I mean, how can, evolution takes thousands, millions of years to evolve, so that's kind of his basis on his theory. But yeah, it was kind of a cool course and kind of made me think about things differently. Not necessarily that I believe that, but more is that I'm open to the possibilities of it. And I think that's all you really need. You don't need to say, okay, well, yeah, I believe for a fact that aliens are real, but you don't have to necessarily say I don't believe for a fact that they aren't real either. And I think a lot of people just make fun of the whole topic, and people don't want to get made fun of, so they just don't like to admit it, even though they do believe it.
That's like with all conspiracy theories, like there's just some that are just like you hear them and automatically I just dismiss it. But I listen to it first. I listen to whatever crazy person is about to tell me their conspiracy theory about God knows what, involving God knows who. But like I'll listen to it because why would I not listen to it? Like, and then I can just erase it from my memory afterwards. But like, especially with aliens, it's like we can talk about it for hours and hours and hours about everything that's been seen, all like the actual documentation from the US government and like the military and everything, and all the videos that are like have come out of the last year or so. It's just like Marty, we got to have you back on and have like a full 2-hour episode of just talking about this, because I'm so down for this.
Yeah, so let's just smoke a few blunts while we're at it too.
Yeah, we'll just go sit by the campfire I have outside, and we'll do that.
Smoking weed and talking aliens.
Yeah. So I want to bring this up because Marty put it in the Medium article, and we did hear a story about the UFOs, but the story I really want people to hear is, can you tell them about the graveyard story?
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's a cool one too. So we have this, like in college, there's this whole area a lot of young kids go to, and basically it's called 1,000 Steps. And so a lot of people just go there because there's 1,000 steps, the old entrance to the graveyard, and people could go there. And back in the day, they used to do like seances and thing up there, and whole satanic rituals and weird shit like that. So we thought it'd be really cool. It was close to our dorms, and so we got really drunk one night. Let's go over there and check it out. Let's go to it. Yeah. And so we ended up doing it, and everyone's just like, being stupid college kids, drinking and scaring each other. But I am a natural empath, and for people who don't know what empaths are, they're just more sensitive to like energies. I can pick up on people's energies when I walk into a room, or whether it be good or bad, I can really sense it. And sometimes it can affect me. My energy could be drained, and I'll feel really tired all of a sudden, or it'll really hype me up, and I'll get a sudden burst of energy. So like, I'm really sensitive to kind of different energies around. So I feel like that's maybe why I'm more kind of open to these kinds of experiences. But basically we were in the graveyard, and I just kind of felt this weird energy around me, and I was pretty buzzed at the time too. I think I was drinking MD 2020s.
Dang. Wow.
Let's go.
Throwback right there.
Let's go.
I did a few Sobe hits too that night. So.
Let's go. Little Mad Dog. I'm down for that too.
We used to do like do a Dixie cup full of malt liquor and then take a Sobe hit. I forget what but that got you going. Anyway, anyways, some people were like, "Oh yeah, he was just a drunk college kid." That's probably what happened. No, but no, this was real. It was towards the end of the night, so I was starting to sober up a little bit. Anyways, we were up above the top of the steps, and I just like said, "Okay, listen, I kind of want to have an experience here. You know, I want to kind of see if I can sense something paranormal. And I know I'm not going to be able to do it around around all these guys over here. You know, so I kind of just go off on myself." And I was super scared because you know, who wants to go off on themselves in a graveyard at night? Like, no,
Sure.
nope.
Nope.
Right? So, but I wanted to experience something, I could feel something. So I walked down to it and I go to the middle of the steps. I'm like step 500, right? They're all broken up at this point, but and I just sit there and just chilling, you know. And my friend, she comes up behind me. Her name's Adrian. She comes up and she's like, "Marty, what are you doing by yourself in the dark, sitting on these steps in the graveyard? You little creeper." You know what I mean? She didn't say that, but I feel like that's what she meant, you know, like, I'm like, "Shh, Adrian, shut the fuck up."
Yeah.
And I said, "Bitch." No, okay. So,
oh shit.
I said,
This is probably the best one.
Oh my
no,
god.
anyways, so I was like, "Adrian, just be quiet," you know. And she's like, "Okay." She's like, "It's so weird, you know, whatever." And I just like, I kind of feel something, you know. I kind of feel like something's telling me to come down here and be on this step. And she's like, "Oh, okay," you know. Anyways, so I'm just like, she shut up, and we just sat there for a minute. It was kind of awkward, but I was kind of like feeling out the energy. And next thing we know, the bushes to our right, our right, she was sitting to the right of me, started shaking violently, right? And these are really thick fucking bushes and trees. You don't just go. It wasn't one of our friends like playing a prank on us, because it's such a steep hill. It's like a cliff, and then you'd have to like, it would take a lot of work and effort to go into these bushes, and you would be there for hours trying to get out. But they started shaking violently, like something's running towards us through the bushes, but nothing was there. And a lot of people are saying, "Well, what if it's a squirrel or something?" But squirrels run away from you, towards you, you know? They don't. So nothing would run towards you, shaking violently at you. And it just scared the fucking shit out of me. It scared her, because instantly we both got up and we said, "Run!" And I like push her out of the way.
Hey, it's for yourself.
Yo, Adrian is gone. Sorry, dude. Sorry, Adrian. You're
She's a
out.
small girl too. She's tiny.
She's like,
Gone.
No, we were both running kind of, I don't know, maybe I did, but she said I did. I'm such a valiant hero. But we both made it up safe, and we were both talking about that for months afterwards. Like, "Do you remember that?" I'm like, "Yeah." So kind of like how you guys were saying how you had that shared experience. It's kind of the same thing. Like, you know that it was something off and paranormal when both people have the same experience, and it's not just one person, because it's easy for one person's mind to play tricks on them. It's a lot harder to have two people minds that are completely, different, chemically balanced and whatnot, to have that same exact reaction to something that isn't legit. Our minds are smart. Even our subconscious is a lot smarter than we know about, and science doesn't really, I'm a science guy myself, and we don't really have the brain figured out, and there's a lot of things we don't have figured out. And so, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like, so you have to take, like, what you do have to take in is what you do know, and the chances, what are the odds of two people having that same exact experience and that same exact reaction. So,
see, like I said, a little bit ago, that I'm all about walking outside and there being an alien pissing in the bushes or whatnot. Like, yeah, like I think about that, and that'd be cool to experience all that stuff. But like, I'm not gonna go out and like venture and like go out off my own and like go in like a dark place, or like go off on like the 500th step of like a graveyard staircase. Like, I'm not about that life. Like, I'm about it like being like, and yeah, like I'm not about, like, I'm cool with like it being in the comfort of my own home. Right. That I see something happen, but like I'm not a big fan of the dark. Like, I'm happy to admit that I'm not doing the dark. No thanks.
So
I took some liquid courage to do it. Even now, like I can't even fucking play Resident Evil Village by myself. It's just,
Yeah. So I want to bring it. It's a weird segue, but I want to bring this into the botting world. So for everyone out there, I'm a big sneaker reseller and sneaker collector. Shout out PJ Tucker. But a big thing in the sneaker world is botting. So there's a lot of sneaker botting that goes on when it comes to Jordans, Yeezys, and things of that nature. And I thought it was really interesting what the team over at Gray Token is doing to combat botting in the cryptocurrency world with anti-botting protection and also botting. So Martin, can you go into detail about what is botting in the cryptocurrency world and how you all are combating it with anti-bot protection?
right. Yeah. So bots are pretty cool. I mean, in the sneaker industry, allows collectors to kind of, grow their collection and whatnot. I think a lot of people, like a lot of gamers, are gonna hate bots too, because
they hate it. Yes,
they absolutely hate it. I know, and I admit that I bought my PS5 and my Xbox
botting.
I didn't get it off a bot, but I did get it. That too, like, oh yeah, you're just fueling the cause. You're I'm like, hey, but I've been playing it for the last year, so it's all good.
Right? That's what they tell me all the time.
Yeah. So the bot thing in crypto is really bad because people's money's at stake, and if you're a project owner and you want to say, okay, you really want to have a fair launch, right, and you want to give everyone a fair, equal opportunity to purchase your token and at the launch, and you want to go smoothly, then you need to have some kind of anti-bot protection. Not only that, but trading it even after the launch, bots will front run trades, and it'll kind of just like a vampire. It'll drain liquidity. It'll drain profits. So it over time, that adds up to a lot of money, and it hurts people, the profit from traders. It hurts the volume. So we use gold token, project gold, to do FTP anti-botting on our project. So basically it uses different mechanics to detect bots and freeze them so that they can't front run the project, which is really cool, because then it kind of just gives people more chances to profit off the token instead of the bots getting all the profit, and that's something that I'm kind of proud of to have and say that we integrated, and it works great. Like, you don't have bots front running the project. You can buy in. You don't have to worry about a bot buying in right before you for 20th buy and then selling right after you. So making your position higher and then immediately go down right after you buy it. So it's a good thing to have, I think.
So no pre-promotion on this one out there, but if you guys check out Dex Tools, you can almost type in any type of cryptocurrency, just watch the trades come in and out. You'll understand what botting up is, because it'll be like the huge trades and you'll be able to just track it. It'll show a bot, and it sucks.
Like
a lot of say it again.
Like a red M.
Yes. Yeah. And it's horrible because you'll see them come in and then you think as though, oh, I have a good chance of this. They claim it's a fair launch and stuff. But if the company isn't trying to do anti-bot protection, your fair launch, if the coin is coming out at 1 penny, you might not get it to like 4 or 5 cents at best, because the bots are going to get in there before everyone. And what a lot of people need to understand is botting in the sneaker industry or cryptocurrency or gaming, it's quicker than the snap of a finger, or quicker than you can think. So they're going to be in and out, or even in there. And by the time you want to get in, it's not the same. So it's not fair. So that's something I do appreciate. And a big thing that stuck out to me with Gray Token. The other thing that I noticed was Goldilocks LP. Can you explain that a little bit for people out there, what it is?
Right. So with decentralized trading, when you buy off a decentralized exchange like Uniswap, right? Instead of exchanges having, say you want to buy, say if Gray Token was on Coinbase, right? Maybe one day,
Shout out, that'd be big.
Yeah, Brian Armstrong.
I know, yeah.
No, but say if it was on Coinbase, right? So what Coinbase would do is they would buy up a bitch loaded supply, a buttload of supply of Gray, or they would work it out with the project owners, and they would have that huge supply on their exchange that they would sell to people, right? And that's called liquidity. And then a liquidity pair would be Gray Token and Ethereum. mixed together. So when you get, when you want to trade Ethereum for Gray token, you'll give the Uniswap Ethereum, they'll give you Gray token, and the liquidity providers will earn a percentage fee on that, right? So what happens though is if you have too much liquidity, then the price doesn't move that much on each trade. If you have too little liquidity, then the price moves too much. It's too volatile, right? Like you buy, $1,000 worth, and then it just spikes it up 10%. That's not having enough liquidity. Too much, you buy $1,000 worth and it doesn't move, hardly moves a cent. So you want to have kind of a balance in liquidity to make an optimal decentralized trading environment. So to do that, what we're working on is having measurement, liquidity kind of AI that takes and adds liquidity depending on the different market dynamics present. So a lot of that has to do with volume, price, and things of that nature. So it'll add just not too much, not too little, just right. The Goldilocks liquidity. Yeah.
Okay. So the next thing because you brought up Uniswap, and I want to touch on that. Why did you all choose to launch on Uniswap to start?
Well, I'm a big fan of decentralized exchanges just because I think that centralized exchanges have a good purpose too, and there's a lot of good reasons to use a centralized exchange. A decentralized exchange basically takes the profits away from the middleman, which is the exchange.
Yes.
And so decentralized exchanges allow a more fair, decentralized, distributed launch. So if we were to launch any kind of exchange, the exchange would get their cut, much like a bot would, right? They would get a lot of the fees and a lot of things, and they want to get theirs. They're not going to do it for free. They're not going to do it just let everyone have profits. So decentralized with an anti-bot measure allows us to have the most fair launch possible, and allows everyone to trade, so there's not so many restrictions in their area to buy it. They can buy it freely, which is cool.
Yeah, thank you for that. So the other thing I wanted to just bring up and just talk to you about was the marketplace that you all are selling the NFTs on when they're minted. So do you have your own NFT marketplace, or where can people end up selling it, or how is that whole thing for everyone out there?
We're currently in development of creating our own NFT marketplace, and it's coming along really nicely. We should have it done fairly soon, and we're going to do weekly updates so people know where we are at in the development process. So if you follow our Medium and our Twitter, you'll be able to get project updates and know where we are at in that progress. But our team's killing it, man. We're just like rocking it. So I mean, every week you'll see where we're at in the development stage, and we're trying to keep it clear, transparent, open communication with everyone that wants to learn about it, or anyone that's a token holder. I've personally been in projects where I'm holding a token and I don't hear anything from the devs until they're ready to release something, and it just kind of frustrates me because I'm really invested in the project, not just financially, but also with my time and my interest. And so like it'd be cool for the project I'm really interested in to communicate with me and let me know what's going on, because I want to help support them, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to say, hey, listen, here's where we're at, and here's what we're trying to do next. And so yeah, answer your question, NFT marketplace is coming. It's going to be awesome.
Perfect.
And we have a lot of plans to build on that marketplace and make it unique than anything else.
Perfect. Thank you for that. So I want to just let everyone know, because Marty brought up Telegram and Medium, you can check out the roadmap and what they're doing moving forward. We just put out an AMA with Marty and the team, so I appreciate that. And he explains the roadmap there, but you can also check them out on Medium and then on Telegram to see what they're doing up to date. And it's something that I'm a part of, and I can validate what he's saying and echo the sentiments that they truly are putting out everything, and they're huge on communication, which I do appreciate. If it's not Marty, it's another community moderator. It's someone out there that'll answer your questions, but also just let everyone know what is going on. Even if two people have asked the same question multiple times, they're not going to get frustrated. They'll still answer the question or link you back to where you can find the correct answer for you on the roadmap and everything moving forward. And if you've been in the cryptocurrency game more than just this middle of the bull run, if you've been in 2007, 2018, or even before, you know what Marty's talking about in the sense there are so many companies out there that'll just say, oh, we're going to end up updating you. They either will just rug pull, drop it out there and rug pull, or they just don't say anything. And even before they release it, your money's gone. I can admit to myself during like 2018, there were companies out there I thought they were going to be great. You heard them once, you heard them on a YouTube channel, then you invested before it launched, never heard anything again. And it's a big thing to make sure that the company is communicating with you all. So I really do appreciate that. Something else that I know a lot of people out there are always going to ask, do you have plans for any future exchange listings? If you can tell us anything.
Yeah, I mean, so we kind of just like more like opportunists, you know, like I think what we're really focused on is just delivering like a really awesome product. And then I think building on that and building the community for that and getting the contests and focusing on what we can control, you know, and making this as big of a success as we possibly can, because we feel like the paranormal community deserves it. We feel like people deserve it. We want to see the NFT tokenomics come to life and fruition, and so that's what we're focused on right now. But I think, you know, if we focus on that and we build that out, right, we do one hell of a job, and people take notice, and our platform grows, I think exchanges will be flocking to us. I mean, you know, what I mean,
Yes.
they'll want, you know, some of this, because I think this is a new concept in crypto, and it's not been done. And I think a lot of times people have a concept and they try to execute it. They try to execute it poorly, or they try to rush it, or they just try to, you know, they just try to. It becomes too much about the profits and not much about what you're actually trying to achieve. You know, and I feel like, you know, if we really deliver a really awesome product, you know, I feel like they'll come to us. But, you know, I don't want to list, and I feel our team agrees with me on this. We don't want to list on some crappy exchange that doesn't have much volume,
Yes.
because you don't want that. I mean, when people need to understand, when a coin launches on an exchange, their supply, their circulation, their supply grows, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exchanges need to have a large amount of that supply to sell. That's all they're doing, is they're brokerage, right? They're selling off the shares or the shares, the coins, right? The coins out to the public when they buy them. So that's going to dilute the supply. So if you have a ton of exchanges and they're not really good, then, you know, it's going to dilute the supply. So we only want a tier one exchange only.
Yeah.
That circulation level.
So thank you for that one too, because something that I've appreciated, I know a lot of people out there when they listen to this will appreciate it. You break down everything that you say. And even though you said the word shares, I think that was the perfect example so that people can understand either outstanding shares or even in cryptocurrency, just understanding when there are more exchanges. That's also why the total supply isn't always out there for certain cryptocurrencies.
Yeah.
So I do thank you for that. Something that you touched on before, but I just want to explicitly say it so that people can understand. Explain why your token supply is so large to start off with.
Yeah, it's a good question. Because I think that's confuses some people when they look at a lot of the meme coins out there with the large supplies, and then kind of the safe meme tokenomics, and then they look at ours and they think that, oh, meme coin, you know?
Yes, that's a big thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, the cool thing about our token, the reason why its supply is so high is because of the deflationary tokenomics in the NF tokenomics, right? We have a high supply, and the supply burns over time. So when that NFT marketplace comes out, and people are buying and selling NFTs, when they're using Ethereum, or they're using stable coins, or they're using gray coin, that gray coin's burned out of the supply. So it goes to a burn vault. And so, you know, theoretically, you know, we you know, we don't have all that the mechanics of that worked out 100%, but it's going to be super hyper deflationary in the nature. So a lot of that supply is burned over time. So what happens is that supply is burned, and there's less of that out in circulation, kind of like how Bitcoin works for a lot of people, you know, that want to know how that works. Well, Bitcoin's never burned, but it has a low supply, right? But the lower supply out there, the higher the value goes, right? Because it's all about supply and demand. So we wanted to load a really high supply at first, so that it gives early investors a chance to get in and see their investment grow over time, you know, as the supply drops.
Yeah. Thank you for that. So last one that I want to segue into, and Stephen, you'll be able to relate to this when I bring it up. So we always like to ask the people that come on their favorite sport teams or sports. So Marty, what are some of your favorite sports teams for everyone out there that hasn't read the Medium article yet?
My favorite sports balls teams are I like I'm a big Gonzaga Bulldogs fan. Like Jalen Suggs had an awesome year
Okay.
for Pittsburgh. You know, Drew Tim, the stash.
Okay. He's throwing dimes out there.
Yeah, I mean that's just a good team. Gonzaga's always been strong, and my dad's a hardcore Zags fan, and you know I've been watching him for the last like I think 15 years now. So yeah, I've seen all the way since the '99 Cinderella run.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Shout out
of
Adam
course,
Morrison.
the Seahawks. You know, I've been to a lot of the clink. I've been to the clink a lot of times watching the Seahawks game. I saw the Fail Mary. I was there at the game. The Fail Mary.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. You know, Russell Wilson threw that up. I think it was Golden Tate. Yeah, caught it.
Yes.
Yeah, that was pretty
wild.
cool. Yeah, I wasn't there for Beastquake, unfortunately. 'Cause that would have been pretty cool. But the Legion of Boom years were freaking awesome. But I mean, it's always a treat to watch Russell Wilson play and do his scrambling magic. You know, it's Frank Tarkenton. You know, best impersonation. Yeah, it's I love watching him out there, and it's great watching DK Metcalf do his thing too, because that guy's a beast.
Yeah.
DK, yeah. My roommate from college played at Penn State and then got drafted by the Seahawks the year they won the Super Bowl. So I went out to visit him once. Weird story. I was only in Seattle for I think 18 hours.
Alien.
Yeah, I wish. Well, certain circumstances probably could have led to that, but yeah, it was. That's a phenomenal city. It's just like it's just a very large college town, in my opinion, because UW is right there, and it's like you can. He lived right across the street from the Seahawks facility, which is still like a good like 20 minutes, I think, from like the actual city itself. But like you go into the city and like it's a big city, sure, Seattle, but like it doesn't have that feel to it. It has more of like a college vibe to it. Everyone's always super laid back for obvious reasons, but yeah, big. I became a big Seahawks fan. I'll root for the Seahawks until they play the Steelers in the Super Bowl.
Man, don't bring back to 05. I still have.
Oh yeah. I wasn't going to, but I mean, we can go there. Yeah. Willie Parker, my man, Antoine Randall throwing dimes to Heinz Ward in the end zone. Just name a couple of plays from that Super Bowl.
I think we had Mattress back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I think there was Sean Alexander in that one.
Yeah, and good old Matt Hasselbeck. Yep.
Yeah, I can't remember who the wide receivers are. That's sad.
I don't think it was any. I think Sean Alexander was the league MVP that year or around that time. So
Robinson's record.
Yeah, I think because that's all you needed in Seattle was Sean Alexander.
Yeah.
Yes, at those times.
Yeah, that was pretty good year. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So I want to say
win a Super Bowl though.
Yeah. So I want to say, Marty, I really do appreciate this. Honestly, I have to echo what Steven said. We legit could be talking all night with this. Just because the conversation you can have, and it's another big thing when you can talk to somebody that you can relate to with stories, and someone that's not going to necessarily judge your stories, but can say the same exact things or similar things. And a big thing that I wanted to have you on for is to validate everything behind the Gray Token. So it'd be a crazy thing if people within the Gray Token have never had paranormal experiences, and it'd be like, all right, so why did you create this? So for everyone to be able to hear this and then also read about what Gray Token is, but also hear that people behind Gray Token have these experiences, and then the contest you're doing. Personally, the first thing I thought was Marty and them are about to expose the government with the way they're doing this, because all the things that they're hiding are not trying to tell people. You put it on the blockchain. I legit was at work.
Really low key though. Really, I mean, I thought about that. Like whistleblowers and shit.
Yes.
I mean, imagine if they have an outlet where they can anonymously submit something and it's on the blockchain, they get it out there. Maybe get it
Exactly.
off-
And then we can anonymously bring them on this podcast and we can talk
I know,
about it.
right?
There's a little shameless
Little
plug.
alien
Little,
emoji of their face.
I'm
Yes.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah, because what's funny is I was at work and I was just reading about you all and I started laughing and someone came into my office. They're like, Christian, what are you laughing about? In my head, I'm like, I'm laughing because Marty and them can expose the government this way. But out loud, I was like, oh, I was just laughing at the crazy meetings I have coming up. So for all my coworkers watching this, that's really what I was laughing at. Because I just like the different ways that people won't necessarily tell you everything, but also you're always afraid of and scared of what you don't know. And this will put everything out there. I remember I went to, I think it was either Williamsburg, because they have a lot of different ghost areas and stuff, because Williamsburg is one of those colonial areas. So of course they have the different houses and stuff up there. Yep. And they do a lot of the ghost tours. And they can just tell you about all the stories, but you're not going to believe it unless you see it for yourself. Another thing I want to bring up, I won't tell everyone the hotel on here. So it's the Lord Baltimore in Baltimore, Maryland. It's a big one for haunted things of that nature. So I was like, all right, let's go stay there. So I stayed there one time. There's just one floor they don't necessarily want you to stay on because of ghosts, but Baltimore's another haunted area in that nature. But I'm saying all that because I want to really say I appreciate Marty coming on, us working this out. It's something that I think a lot of people will look back on and listen to, but it's not just something in the cryptocurrency area they can listen to, but it's also people that have had paranormal activity and experiences, existences, have seen different things, and they haven't had an outlet to listen to or talk to about this. Because yes, we did talk about cryptocurrency, but we all got to share stories and just share different things of that nature. So thank you to the Great Token team for letting us have Marty on here.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah,
Also, want to say
absolutely.
another really cool haunted place I did stay at. This is really cool. I was a security engineer doing some work as a consultant for Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. I was staying, I think, a few weeks in the city. I stayed at the Hollywood Roosevelt, and that's where I stayed in Marilyn Monroe's suite. And apparently she's there. And that shit's haunted as fuck. Like I'd wake up in the middle of the night, just like things like just hearing sounds all over the place. And like
Nope.
places where I put my
Nope. Nope.
stuff and they'd be in a different area.
So, Steven, as we wrap up,
Next time we come on the show, we'll talk about glitches in the Matrix and the Mandela effect.
yeah, you have to. Yes, please do.
Yeah.
Steven, what you got for everyone as we end?
I'm gonna go sit outside for a little bit and just think. I'm just gonna go sit outside, look up, and just probably just fall asleep outside. Who knows what's gonna happen? Who knows?
Hey, Marty, what you got?
I just want to say thanks for having me on, guys. I know we had some scheduling conflicts or whatever, but really appreciate you being patient with me. And I had a really fun time with you guys. You guys are great. This is an awesome show. And I was watching a few of your other shows you had on. You had Mike Chan on there with you.
Yes,
too.
sir.
He's a cool guy. That's a cool project too. So shout out to them.
Yep.
Shout out to you guys. Thanks for having me on. It's been fun. And maybe one day I'll come on again.
You're absolutely welcome back. Absolutely.
So for everyone that didn't watch the beginning, I'm just going to give my Steven's mad. So I'm going to give my two things. One, I finally got her today. So Venus is here. She is a little agitated because of shipping and stuff of that nature. So that's the first one. And I got to say shout out to all the kids. So I went to Philly today with camp. I'm not going to mention which kid, but so a lot of the kids I went with, they are able to the parents can give them a lot of money on the trips. We went on a food tour, didn't need money. So there was one kid at $20. We're like, all right, so where's your 20 at the end of the day? This man gave a whole 20 to the homeless person. And I had felt two different ways. One, I was like, damn, that's actually really good. But on the other end, I started laughing because he wanted to get ice cream from the ice cream truck and he didn't have no money because he gave it all to the homeless person.
It'd be funny if you saw the homeless guy in line for the ice cream truck, though. Like, dang, there it goes.
But we were laughing, the staff members, because we were like, he gave him a 20. There's a couple of things we all know that you can buy with a 20. So if his parents knew where that $20 went, they probably wouldn't have liked that they gave the whole 20, not $1, $2, the whole 20. But those are my two things for the people out there. But I just want to say thank you again. And with that, we got next and Marty. We out.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys.
Peace. Yep.